What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. All right, so we've been watching, or at least I've been watching the Mike McCarthy press conference here, and he's talking about a number of things. His relationship with Jerry Jones, and allegedly Jerry Jones says he'd like Mike McCarthy to coach here as long as Tom Landry. Um, yeah, that's a long time. And as Mike McCarthy put it, that's a long time. That's a really long time. That's like a prison sentence, okay, if you're the head coach and the pressure cooker that is the Dallas Cowboys. He was asked about Kellen Moore and the situation of Kellen Moore coming back. One thing he touched on is, the way these assistant coaches and things are treated in the media and by the fans and things is actually kind of sad because these people have families and lives and things like that and don't deserve sometimes the things that are said. And I have to agree, it's not just the coaches, it's the players as well. We don't understand how much these guys do, how much these guys give up for our entertainment. And it's literally risking their life on every play. But when he was asked about Kellen Moore, he said he's still in the evaluation process with all of the coaches and things. And as he put it, he hasn't been sleeping much the last few days and looks like he hasn't slept much the last few days. And as far as Kellen Moore goes, he has not talked to him much in the last few days, but they're still in the evaluation process. So we do know that Frank Wright, which was uh, where he was interviewing for the head coaching spot, where he apparently wowed him, and according to Ian Rappaport, that he was a great interview and stuff, but just wasn't great enough to overtake Frank Wright. So we're still figuring out if Dan Quinn, we're looking at the musical chairs that is the coaching. Sean Payton liked the idea of being in Denver, but worries about a power struggle there. He is having lunch with the ownership with his second interview with the Cardinals. Dan Quinn had his second interview with the Cardinals yesterday, had his second interview with the Colts, and the Colts seem to be ready to hire Jeff Saturday back. It's conceivable that Dan Quinn does not take a job this year like he did last year. Now, it does not appear that there is a head coaching job right now. Breaking news right now. Da 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 da. Wow. I'm not even sure who sent me that, but breaking news: Dan Quinn is staying in Dallas. Wow. Breaking news as I was going through and speculating. In fact, here's what's crazy. I just put a video up about, oh, I do a lot. I do a lot of videos. But I just put a video up what's saying I think Dan Quinn is staying in Dallas by reading the tea leaves that are what's going on. And here's why I will say it's a good idea for Dan Quinn to stay with the Cowboys. If you look at it and you look at the Denver job and you say, we've got Russell Wilson, who may or may not be spent. You've got new ownership, the Walton family, that is deemed kind of controlling. You may not have, you're going to have to rebuild the offense. You might not look at that right now and say that's a premier job. The Cardinals, Kyler Murray and that situation, and the Bidwell family, I'm not sure that that's a great one. The Colts, are you kidding me? With Ursay, you will get more publicity being the defensive coordinator from the Dallas Cowboys than you would as the head coach of the Colts. Literally does. And Dan Quinn has been around long enough that he should look at this and say, unless there's the perfect job there, I get to work with a generational talent. The Joneses, to Dan Quinn's credit, the Joneses, to me, if Dan Quinn wants something, Dan Quinn gets it. You can look at the way the Cowboys have drafted over the last two seasons. It's favored the defense. He gets what he wants. He's getting paid probably not far from what a head coach is. And having players like Micah Parsons to work with, generational talent, it just gets better from that standpoint. So, and the other part of this I will point out in my own personal life, um, you have aspirations of having a big company and being in charge and running all this stuff. And I used to have that as well. But what I learned for myself on a personal basis, one, because I'm not good at doing paperwork and things, is I don't like the head guy in charge role where I've got to delegate all the work. I'm a guy that likes to have my hands dirty. I actually like to, at the end of the day, see what I built. I get more satisfaction of it. And I believe with Dan Quinn, being the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, having to answer to the GM and the owner, to the press conference and things like that, where you're overseeing the coaches as opposed to actually working with the players on the field, of actually coming up with that game plan, of actually saying, I created that player to go to the next level. That those are things that I think Dan Quinn, because you look at Dan Quinn, he seems to be more relaxed. He seems to be more excited. He seems to be happier in life than he ever looked at a press conference for the Atlanta Falcons. That's just my own personal take and the way I look at it. I feel better when I go through and I frame up a wall, see that sucker stood up at the end of the day and stuff, and kick back and have a nice little drink and just look and see what you accomplished with your own hands. So that is some good news right there. No word then on what's going to happen with Kellen Moore. All we do know is Mike McCarthy, as of yet, has not met with Kellen Moore. And considering that the game was Sunday, and he started the process, we're already 4 days in. I don't know what that means, but it's got to mean something. And let me double check and make sure that that is true here. Somebody could be playing tricks on me. Dan Quinn. Let's look up Dan Quinn here on this update. Dan Quinn informed interested teams that he is staying in Dallas per sources. Quinn was a top candidate for the Cardinals head coaching job, also interviewed with the Colts and the Broncos, but his heart is in Dallas and he wants to win a Super Bowl there. And here's what I dare say. Dan Quinn being there, building his resume even deeper with the Dallas Cowboys, keep one thing in mind. The Dallas Cowboys typically like to hire within. If they feel that Mike McCarthy's not the guy, they would take Dan Quinn to be the head coach. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So some great news for the Dallas Cowboys breaking while we were talking about Kellen Moore. Maybe that's a good sign for us. Any thoughts, baby? No thoughts? She's not listening to me.
I'm sorry. I know you're talking to me.
That's okay. I'm glad you guys listen to me. As always, Mark Holmes here with some good news for the Cowboys. Peace.